Jannik Sinner wins again. He wins the second round match against Alexei Popyrin on Ash. And what can I say? Just another simple day at the office for Sinner. I heard that one of the commentators graded Sinner's performance an 8.5 out of 10. He beats Popyrin 6-3, 6-2, 6-2. Popyrin ranks pretty low in the world now. I think he's left the top 40 now. But last year, let's not forget, this is the guy who won Canada. He won the 1,000 in Canada. Obviously, a lot of players took Canada off. Djokovic and Alcaraz took Canada off. Also, Jannik played in it, but he had just recovered from tonsillitis. He skipped out on the Olympics in Paris last year, so he wasn't even really there, in my opinion. And he's the player who beat Djokovic in the third round and beat the defending champion. Big deal. And he was in a great run of form. You win a 1,000 and you beat the defending champion at a slam. Big deal. And he was on a great run of form, and he had a chance today to go back-to-back years beating defending Grand Slam champions at the U.S. Open, which I think I saw in the commentary that Sam Querrey was the last player to do that, beating Djokovic and Murray, I think it was, which is pretty remarkable. But regardless, Sinner gets it done. The reason why this was graded an 8.5 and not a 10 is because Sinner didn't serve his best. He was under 60% on his first serve. I think in the second set, which surprisingly he won 6-2, he served under 40%. For you to serve under 40% on your first serve, that is, and you win 6-2, that is insane. That shows how great his return ability was. He got into some very long rallies at a few times where I thought maybe he's hurt, maybe he's limping. At one moment, he was stressed over, like holding his knee, feeling that out. So I thought maybe there was an issue there that we didn't know about. But regardless, he gets it done. 6 aces. He did have 4 double faults, just some sloppy serving. He even said in the post-match interview that him and Alexei didn't serve their best, and I totally agree with that. Alexei served around 60% for his serve percentage, but Jannik had a higher percentage on his win percentage on first serve, 78%, and overall he just returned very well. Broke him 5 times. Popyrin had 5 chances to break. Didn't break him a single time. Jannik was great at returning, and he got clutch serving. He served his best when he absolutely needed to, and that's what matters when you're playing in these early matchups. It's like, look, don't let these matches go too long. Finish them off early and sudden, and nobody's better in men's tennis at doing that than Jannik Sinner. He hasn't even let one of his opponents win 4 games in a set so far, and he's just getting through these very quickly, like the player that he is and like what he knows to do. So, what does this mean moving forward? Well, it just means that Jannik Sinner is the guy. He's insane. He's incredible. I will say one thing. Jannik Sinner still wears that sleeve on his arm, and I heard that maybe it's a superstition. Maybe he just likes it and enjoys it. Maybe that'll become a staple of his now. He obviously wore it because of his bone bruise that he suffered at Wimbledon, but he just wears it now. Maybe he just likes it. Maybe it's comfortable. Maybe it gives him some pressure alleviation on his arm that is good for when playing tennis. You see this oftentimes in basketball where players will wear shooting sleeves or compression sleeves. It's a slightly different motion, doing this as opposed to doing that, but maybe it still provides that comfort that helps when you're going out there and playing. So that's not really the issue, the sleeve. What is the issue, though, is he actually called the medical timeout during this match. I believe it was after he went 2 sets to love up. And whenever a player takes a medical timeout when they're winning, you're always a little bit worried because you're like, what's going on? It's psychologically, it's weird, but it seems like everything hurts more when you're losing. You only see players bend over after a 30-point rally when they lost the point. A 30-shot rally when they lost the point. And you usually only see players take medical timeouts when they are losing or when something's pretty serious. And he took a medical timeout in the first round as well, so you're thinking, what's going on? I think he has a blister issue on his ring finger, I think it was, and that maybe make it slightly uncomfortable just to hold the racket. And another blister issue on his foot. I saw his foot was being all taped up and stuff like that. So a lot of players are suffering with huge blister issues and just uncomfortableness in their fingers and their toes. I don't think that has anything to do with the surface per se, because I see it happening at the French and at Wimbledon sometimes too. Maybe that's just the nature of the sport. But I don't think that's a big enough deal to significantly hamper his performance. I doubt that a match that he would have won, he will not lose because he had some blister issues, whether that's on his finger or on his feet, because he still seems to be playing exceptionally well. Let's see how much of an issue that causes, but I think he's just fine. Injury-wise, health-wise, it looks like Jannik Sinner is perfect and he's good to go there. Yeah, and I think we still don't know who he's going to play next. That's still to be determined. But always interesting to see who the guy's going to play next. He plays again on Saturday. And yeah, they haven't even released the Saturday schedule yet, so we don't know. Oh, I forgot. No, Shapovalov. Yeah. Shapovalov is who he plays because Shapovalov just won his match. Dennis Shapovalov, who McEnroe even said during the matchup that if you asked me 5 or 6 years ago, Shapovalov is a player that maybe could have won a slam or two, that you thought maybe would have, and he has really good ability, great ability, but he hasn't been able to find that gear, and there's a few guys now who are just leaps and bounds ahead of them. You know, someone said today that the gap between Sinner, Alcaraz, and the next guy may be even greater than Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic, and the next guy after that. It's pretty wild to see because there was Murray, there was Wawrinka, each of them won 3 slams. There was, a couple guys who were in the mix while those guys were doing their thing. Right now, it almost seems impossible to me that somebody else wins a slam other than Sinner and Alcaraz. I don't think Rune's going to do it. I don't think Zverev's going to do it. I don't think Tiafoe or Ben Shelton or anybody else that you mentioned, Taylor Fritz, are going to do it. It's just exceptional to watch. So Shapovalov should be another easy win for Jannik, if we're being honest, but maybe a little bit tougher because he is, a better player than Popyrin and the guy who played in the first round. I don't even freaking remember his name. Kopriva. Yeah, Kopriva, the Czech player. Jannik's better, of course, but, could obviously cause him some issues, so we'll keep on alert on that. But regardless, Sinner does it. He showed off his excellence today, hard-hitting forehands. His backhand was working well. His return ability was great. He hit a few drop shots, a couple missed, but then when he got them, it was like, got him, and it was perfect, and there's nothing that Popyrin could do about it. And he just showed that full arsenal minus the serve. And if he's working on anything tomorrow on the practice courts, it's going to be his serve because that was a bit shaky today. But other than that, he was just his typical self, relentless as usual, dominant as we have in the sport of tennis right now. And the only person who could take him out is Carlos Alcaraz, we think. Other than that, if anybody beats Jannik Sinner, it's because Jannik Sinner beat himself. And that's the one thing that as fans, we do not want to see happen.